Well, hello everybody. It's time for another talking video. Um, I'm going on the topic of GTA 5 again. Um, this time I'm going to be explaining the game from start to finish, all the way from the first mission, the prologue, all the way to the last mission in the game, and which I think is called the last one. So, let's get this started. And I'm going to talk about and describe every mission that goes on in this game, along with a few of the Strangers and Freaks missions that I know about. But here we go. First up, we have the prologue. This is how it all starts with Michael, Trevor, and their old heist member, Brad, and robbing this large bank in the town of Ludendorff, which is in North Yankton. That's where the gang is originally from before they hit up Los Santos. So they managed to get through the bank and are greeted by a huge army of police. So that's when it's time to bring out the guns and shoot down all the police in the area. And they grab their car and go, run it and towards the area of where the church and the cemetery is. When they get there, all of a sudden, and Brad gets shot by a agent, which I think from looking at his face was Dave Norton. And then Michael gets shot. And it's up to Trevor to go take off running. And Brad dies, but Michael survives, which is quite unsure because as the grave said Michael Townley. So everyone thought Michael was the one who died. Little did they know, he wasn't the one buried in there. It was Brad. And Trevor doesn't know about that. But he will soon find out later on in the game. So then the camera cuts out and we move to Los Santos, where Michael is talking to his shrink, Dr. Friedlander, who is there a lot in the game to help Michael with his problems. He's talking about all the stuff that has to go on in his family, how he can't quite interact with them because they're always so busy, and Michael tends to annoy them a little bit. And Michael leaves Friedlander's office and goes out to Vespucci right outside Friedlander's. That's when he first meets Franklin and his best friend Lamar, who are about to go hit up Simeon's car dealership to go find some nice cars. And a little bit who's there? Michael's son Jimmy, who's also looking to buy a car, so he doesn't have to ride his bike all the time. So they find their cars, and Franklin gets to keep one, which becomes his personal vehicle. Now, Franklin, he lives in the area of Los Santos called Davis, which is like the hood area. He lives with his aunt Denise, who's all about like peace, Zen, and all that, like spirit walk, and Franklin and just do a lot of repo work, which he did with Lamar. And Simeon, the man who runs the car dealership, actually gave him the repo job. And soon he he wants Franklin to go get a car, which turned out to be the car Jimmy got at the dealership. So, Franklin has to travel to Michael's house and sneak in through the house and get it to the garage without anyone catching. And for that, you have to be stealthy in order for Franklin to get past them, or else you're gonna alert the family. You're gonna get in the car and drive over to the dealership. Along the way, Michael shows up from the back of the car and points a gun at Franklin's head and tells him to complete his orders, which involves driving through the window at Simeon's dealership, which upset Simeon, resulting in Michael beating him up for what he did, which also got Franklin fired from his repo job. Meanwhile, back at Michael's house, Tracy and Amanda, which is Michael's daughter and wife, are arguing because Amanda doesn't like Tracy's boyfriend, and she thinks he's homeless or anything. And meanwhile, Michael is enjoying the sun out in the backyard, and then Franklin comes over and has a nice chat with him. And they said they're gonna go out and get a drink. But before they even get out the door, Jimmy calls Michael, explaining that he's in trouble and that he tried to sell Michael's boat. So now Michael and Franklin have to save Jimmy. He's currently on a large boat being driven on the Western Highway. And they manage to save Jimmy, but they lose the boat. And Michael's highly upset now, and Franklin takes Jimmy home. And they kind of click a little bit. And then Franklin goes back to his house, and when he sees the door open, he immediately runs around the corner to avoid being seen by Denise. And she's about to go out and do her spirit walking session. And after that, Lamar shows up and asks about Denise. And you can see Lamar has a dog with him, which is Chop, who is mean-looking Rottweiler. And Chop is used for special missions that require a little extra hand. They are planning on taking out this beast from the hood named D. Let's see. So they managed to find him and start pointing a gun at him and start to throw the trash talk out. And then D takes off on his motorbike while Lamar, Franklin, and Chop are in a van. And they finally catch him right near Textile City on the train tracks. And you have to switch to Chop to find him and get ready to go bite his ass. So they catch him and they throw him in the back of the van and drop him off in the hood. And you get to drop Lamar off at the B.J. Smith Recreation Center. And then, Mike, back at his house, he pays for a lot for his family, including his wife's tennis lessons that he gets from a special tennis coach. Then one day, Michael's minding his business, and he finds both tennis rackets outside the house near the front door. That's when, that's when Michael starts to get extremely suspicious because he thinks something's going on in his bedroom. So he storms up there, calling out Amanda's name, and she comes out with a towel on, and it's pretty obvious to know what the hell she was doing in there with the tennis coach, who now has boxers on. So Michael attempts to go kill him, and the tennis coach jumps out the window into ground level. Michael's run downstairs, and he runs into Franklin, and who decides to join him on the mission to take down the tennis coach. So they chase him up to his little hideaway near the canyon, and they pull his house down with a rope, and just knock the house over. Little they know that wasn't the tennis coach's house. That house belonged to Martin Madrazo, who soon shows up to Michael's house and gives him a piece of his mind, and also hits him with a baseball bat. And he decides after that he's got some stuff to clean up, so he gives his friend and Lester a call. Lester is a friend of Michael who turns out to be an excellent hacker. He's kind of like the chief of their missions. He's known for organizing them and helping them out. And then back home, Michael's watching television and just enjoying himself. And he starts hearing all the stuff going on upstairs, which just turns out to be his son Jimmy playing Righteous Slaughter, which is Jimmy's all-time favorite game. Righteous Slaughter is like their version of Call of Duty. Like, it's the same exact concept, action and shooting. So Michael was hearing all the trash talk Jimmy is saying, and he storms up to get him to quiet down a little bit. And then Jimmy just continues to throw out the trash talk, and Michael thinks Jimmy is saying that stuff to him, so he gets mad and breaks Jimmy's television. And Jimmy is just flabbergasted and gets really upset. So Michael decides to make a bet on Jimmy. Take him to Vespucci Beach for a bike ride from the rental all the way to the end of Del Perro Pier. And that will determine who's going to be buying Jimmy's new television. So depending on how fast you are, and you're playing as Michael all in that mission, and you have to be fast if you want to win in the race. So Jimmy's the one getting his new television. Once they get there, they express their feelings, and then Jimmy out of nowhere spills the beans on what Tracy's been doing. Turns out she was hanging on a boat with producers and porno guys, which really sparks Michael, and he ventures out into the water to go stop her. So he drives or swims all the way to that boat and catches her red-handed. She was not expecting that. So she got really mad at Michael after he docked on the shore, and her life was basically ruined, and like she wanted nothing to do with Michael. And then there's the friend request where Michael hits up the Life Invader page, and he gets this weird cap that supposed to make the new phone that was going to be shown by Jay Norris, explode. Oh, when they showed it on the television, once Jay Norris pulled out the phone, Michael made a call to that phone, and Jay he says hello, and then boom, the phone just blew up right in his face. He was not expecting that, I tell you. And next, we have the long stretch where Franklin gets to meet another guy named Harold Joseph, or as he's often known as Stretch. And first, Franklin is not so happy about seeing him. So he's not too happy about seeing him, but he decides to take his chance. But in the end, and after taking out a few of the balls at this odd factory, he turns out to set up Lamar, making Stretch an outcast. Then there's an optional mission called the Good Husband. This is where Michael has to save Amanda from the police. Now we have casing the jewelry store. This is where Michael teams up with Lester to case out the jewelry store, because this is going to come in handy for a heist that's coming soon, known as the jewel store job, where Michael, Franklin, and a few heist members take out the jewel store in Portola Drive. They have to take a few pictures to kind of case it out a little bit, depending on which approach you're taking. If you're taking the loud approach, you need to get some carbine rifles from the police and SWAT team, which involves killing some noose officers, which is extremely sketchy because they get brutal on you, which will lead you to the loud approach of the jewel store job, which is where you go into the jewel store guns blazing and rob all that jewelry. However, if you go for the smart approach, you need to rob a truck with BZ gas grenades. So kind of like tear gas or something. Now, I've done the smart approach many times. It's not easy to rob a gas grenade truck. It took me 3 tries to get it the first time because I kept getting killed by the police. But if you do the smart approach, you're going to throw in the gas grenades through the vent, which will spark it into the store area. That's when you and your heist members are going to storm in there while all the staff are knocked out by the tear gas and go rob the place. The next mission is when it starts to get crazy. That's when we meet our third boy, Trevor Phillips, who is in his dirty ass trailer in Sandy Shores, jerking off on a lost MC woman. When he catches eyes with the television and notices the jewel store job, and he swears he sees Michael there, which he thinks is a ghost. He abandons the woman and walks outside, where he catches eyes with Johnny, who's part of the Lost MC, trying to get his attention. And he's not unhappy because he knows that Trevor has been with his girl again. That's when Trevor plays a joke on it and acts cool about it. But then he grabs Johnny by the throat, breaks his beer bottle in his face, and just stomps on him, and chews him out, and just leaves him for dead. That's when Trevor and his two companions, Wade and Nervous Ron, and take out the rest of the Lost MC in his area. Well, not all of them. There was still plenty of Lost MCs out there in Sandy Shores. Next, we have Trevor Phillips Industries. This is where Trevor gets to meet the Triads for one, and which includes the Changs. And he has to go to the inn, just a few steps away from where his house is. Trevor's not happy about that because he knows he's banned from the inn. But he meets Mr. Chang at the inn. And he takes them over to this old looking gas station. Is where Trevor set up his workplace, Trevor Phillips Industries. And he soon has to take out a gang called Ortegas. Well, he hides the Chang in the icebox out back. He takes them out, and just after he takes them out, and they've given up. Then there's Nervous Ron. Where Trevor and Ron have to do a mission that involves flying a plane. So when it comes time for that, first they have to take out a whole bunch of bikers. After they deliver their evidence to their boy Oscar, is on a boat, they decided to race back to the airstrip. Then we have Crystal Maze, which is where Trevor decides to burn the O'Neill farm. Somehow Trevor has an existing beef with the O'Neill brothers because they stole his contract. So Trevor gets infuriated and storms over to the O'Neill farm and kills most of the brothers there, and lights a trail of gasoline in that house and just ignites it, burning down the house. Then we have Friends Reunited, where Trevor brings Wade over to Los Santos, takes him over to his cousin Floyd's house near Vespucci Beach. The reason Trevor wanted to go there is so he can go seek out Michael. So they managed to reunite in the Fame or Shame mission. And Michael's at home having a heated argument with his wife Amanda, who's also a sucker for yoga, and she's got this absolute idiot of a yoga teacher named Fabian, who I fear does more than just yoga with her, which is what Michael was scared of. And after finishing the argument, and Trevor walks in through the door, and he says hi to the family. He notices Tracy's not there. Michael asks Jimmy, "Where is Tracy?" Jimmy, as she's trying out for TV, she's trying out for fame or shame. So now they're suspicious of that and decide that they are gonna stop her. So they drive over to the Maze Bank Arena near Strawberry, and they find her. They watch what she does, and then they absolutely ruin it for her. And it's the producer, Laszlo. Now, Tracy is furious at Michael and wants absolutely nothing to do with her or him. Sorry, him. I think I'm gonna stop here for this part one, and I'll be back with part two soon. Peace out.